Hotep and greetings, family. I am Dr. Nteri Nelson, co-founder of the Academy of Kemetic Education and Wellness. And I come to you today like the Surgeon General who sounds a medical alert. I come before you today as a metaphysician, a clinician, and an educator to sound a metaphysical and spiritual alert, given the coronavirus and the multiple cataclysms that grip our planet Earth. Planet Earth, what is the name of planet Earth? In our Kemetic tradition and wisdom, the Kemetic name of our planetary nature of God is named Neggur, Geb. Geb is the god of earth. Neggur is the god of earth. He is also called the great Cackler. And today we are tapping and returning to our ancient wisdom for the purpose of understanding the path of overcoming death, raising our vibration, and undergoing resurrection at this time on our planet through the resacredization and the re-spiritualization of this sacred name, which has become gobbled and distorted in its journey through the English language. When we look at the Medew Neter, we are restoring ourselves back to our ancient wisdom and back to the true meaning and vibration of this sacred name, Neggur. Here I hold up an image of Neggur, who is the god of earth, our Neter, Neb, or Geb. He is Lord of our planet. He is the being ensouling our earth according to our ancient wisdom. And he wears the symbol of the goose on the top of his head. And he is called also the great Cackler. It is Geb and his counterpart Nut who produce the great egg. And Geb is called the Urpot of the gods in the Kemetic tradition, the divine goose or great Cackler who laid the cosmic egg. We learn from our Kemetic text following, quote, originally he was the god of the earth and is called both the father of the gods and the Urpot of the gods. He is depicted in human form, sometimes with a crown upon his head and the scepter in his right hand, and sometimes he has upon his head a goose, which bird was one of his incarnations. We'll talk about another incarnation in a moment. In many places, he is called the great Cackler, Negg, Neggur, and he was supposed to have laid the egg from which the world sprang. Already in the pyramid texts, he has become a god of the dead by virtue of representing the earth wherein the deceased were laid. It is time to learn more about life and death, decease, and where they lay, and our resurrection. In overcoming death and raising the vibration, resurrecting and repotentizing the name of Neggur, which has been potentized to be injurious to African people. This is the Medew Neter of his name. N-G-G, and where? Neggur. Negg Neggur, the name of the Lord of our earth. What has happened to this name as it's made its journey through English? It has been potentized to be destructive to African people. It is our work and our healing to understand the repotentizing of this name, that we are able to inoculate ourselves and give us the medicinal prescription that is now indicated for these times. Another symbol of Negg or Geb is the bull of heaven, who we see here is making its ascent through the 7 planes of consciousness that our African ancestors teach us about as we make our descent down into this material realm and then must make our reascent back into the spiritual realm. Negg is the bull of heaven who understands the journey earthly or terrestrially and heavenly or celestially as he moves through the 7 arits or the 7 planes of consciousness. Words may vibrate at a higher vibration, a spiritual vibration, where they are working at a higher turn of the spiral in their optimal and primordial greatness and potency and divinity. Or words may be spiraled down to work at their most coarse and debased and unrefined level of vibration. And so it is this word, Neggur, that would then become distorted and gobbled and debased into the colonizing N-word, that dreaded colonizing N-word that has been an energy that has been so misappropriated. And it is our work as skillful metaphysicians and clinicians that we would do the work of transmuting these energies at this time. Praise and appreciation is to be given to the NAACP, who in July of 2007, July 9th, took the steps in a ceremonial and ritual burial of the N-word. And this was a significant step in redeeming this energy, the energy of the colonizing N-word, Neggur. But as a metaphysician, I must inform you that that is only half of the story. And we know that in our Kemetic wisdom, to tell half the story and to tell it as if it is a truth is to tell a lie. It is only half of the story. What is the rest of the story? we turn the page now to see where we stand in our planetary history. In understanding cycles of time, we understand the energy of the sun and how our African ancestors saw and traced the whole psycho-spiritual journey of unfolding consciousness by their relationship with the sun, Ra, which they call Ra. And the sun is S-U-N, it's also S-O-N, son and daughter, which we are. And like Ra, in the sun in the sky, the sun underwent a seeming death as it made its passage from the east to the west, such that we would have day and night. We also see this seeming death of the sun when we have the winter solstice, where the sun reaches its deepest descent in the sky and is in this process of standing still for 3 days before it begins to make its ascension in the sky. This is where we are now in the spiritual implications of this perfect storm, in understanding what time it is. We are in this standing still now in this planetary grip, not only of the coronavirus, but of so many of the cataclysms that are gripping our planet. And it is in this repotentizing of the name Neggur that we raise the vibration and make our reascent and emerge into the day as the sun that rises again. I want to read you the importance of Geb at this time from my book, The Golden Sun Egg Uncracked, the Nu'N Word Neggur, the goose goddess who laid the sun egg, the cosmic egg. We read from our text, he is one of the company of the gods who watches the weighing of the heart of the deceased in the judgment hall of Asur. And on his brow rested the secret gates, which were closed by the balance of Ra, and which were guided by the God himself. The righteous who were provided the necessary words of power were enabled to make their escape from the earth wherein their bodies lay, but the wicked were held fast by Geb. Family, we must embrace our Kemetic wisdom in order to understand this transmigration, this transmuting of the energies in the time we now live. And the gates that we need to be concerned about are the gates of Geb that hold us in its grip or release us as the son-daughter to now make our reascent and rise again on the eastern horizon in our resurrection. Yes, Geb is called the great cackler. And it is in that cackling, just like a rooster cackles in the morning, that Geb arouses us to live, that we may live. Geb is the symbol of fertility and virility and potency. And yet, when we've undergone this seeming cracked egg, which is the symbol of fragmented, broken God or Neter consciousness, then we are undergoing this seeming death. And like the cracked egg, the brokenness of the body of Wasur is key in symbolizing the brokenness in the human family and in the consciousness of man and woman and the divinity within. It is the result of the descent down the tree of life and the converging cycles of the time we now live in, which make up what I call the spiritual implications of the perfect storm in which we now live. I call us to perform the following ritual of greeting and ceremony as a first spiritual prescription, serving as inoculation at this time in this Aquarian age. Because we want to operate as if we are in Aquarius and not in the Piscean age. The Piscean age was guided by what one believed in faith. Today, in the Aquarian age, it is based on what we know in fact. And we know from our sacred writings that the Neter, the god of our planet Earth, is named Neggur, a sacred name. And it is up to us to raise this vibration together. And it is in reconnecting with our Medew Neter language and all of our Kemetic wisdom, all our sacred texts, the Pertim Ru, the book of coming forth by what? By day from night. And this is where we're at right now, coming forth today after night. We will raise our vibration through our spiritual prescriptions, our prayer, our ritual, how we treat each other as inhabitants of this planet, in embracing the 42 laws of Ma'at, which are the universal laws of right relationship. So family, in administering this first of a series of spiritual prescriptions as inoculations of the time we now live, and it is how we are wielding our most powerful medicine and symbol of the Caduceus as healers. We are wielding the most powerful medicine in the transmuting of this sacred name that has been so distorted and made to be injurious to African people. May this spiritual prescription serve as inoculation, which is as follows. Family, when you greet each other, when you greet every member of your family, when you greet people in the community, when you greet people out in the world, as we say Hotep or greetings, let us say, these words. Neggur is the name of the god Neter of our planet Earth, the great Cackler Geb. Let us say together and as one, When we greet each other on the street, in the workplace, out and about, let us say Neggur is the name of the god Neter, or Neb, Lord of our planet Earth, the great Cackler Geb. We make this spiritual prescription at this time in light of the devastation that's happening on our planet, and to apply as skilled metaphysicians that which we know to be medicinal. Family, let us sound this hekon, this powerful mantra, even after or if a so-called vaccine is found for coronavirus. How many vaccines have there been already? The one and only and true vaccination we need, the one and only true vaccination and inoculation we need, the one and only true spiritual prescription that we must administer to ourselves is to greet each other in our daily walk by saying and affirming the hekah, potent word, the correct name for our planet, the one in whom we live and have our being, all its inhabitants, all of its kingdoms, the mineral, the vegetable, the animal, the human, and the divine. Let us greet each other by saying Neggur with pride and royalty. Neggur is the name of the god Neter of our planet Earth, the great Cackler Geb. Here are the words, family. This is spiritual prescription administered for today, with more spiritual prescriptions to follow. Let me read from Curtin Brew, the significance of this time. It is from the chapter of Snuffing the Air in Kurt Neter. The chapter of Snuffing the Air and having power over the water in Kurt Neter. The Asur Ani says, "Hail, you sycamore tree of the goddess Nut, give me of the water and of the air which is in thee." We so need the air in this Aquarian age. And it is the mental energy. It is about right knowledge, knowing, which is in thee. I embrace that throne which is in Unu, and I keep guard over the egg, Negg Neggur. It flourish, and I flourish. It lives, and I live. It sniffs the air, and I sniff the air. I, the Asur Ani, whose word is truth in peace. Goes on to say, this God is Geb, the earth god. The egg is the sun. The meaning is, if the egg flourishes, then I shall flourish. If it lives, I shall live. If it snuffs the air, I shall snuff the air. If it does not snuff, that if it does not flourish, nor live, nor snuff the air, then I shall do none of these things and shall die. So it is in Geb and repotentizing and reclaiming the name Neggur at its highest spiritual vibration that we live in Geb. We have life and meaning in our father Geb and in our mother Nut. Family, I have been coming before you with these works for 2.5 decades now. See the links below for other talks on the same subject that were given a decade ago and more. Please add your comments, and I do in the days ahead so much look to come before you and administer these spiritual prescriptions as spirit guides. And I say, Onk Uja Seneb.
Renewing the speeches of those who heard, intergenerational exchanges, good speech, and intellectual warfare for the African mind. And Dr. Jacob Carruthers has said, the rebuilding of our African families, the rescue of our ancestors, the repair of our broken lives are the demands that must be met by each one of us. And I want to focus my talk today on this repair of our broken lives. In my new book, Spirit guided me to take my previous work, Secrets of Race and Consciousness. Said it was too dense, too condensed, and to, like a mathematician, subtract out all the calculations and the permutations and just come to the conclusions. And to put it in a form that would be digestible for young people. Because that's who we really want to reach, is the young. It's for the older generations, intergenerational, but we really want to reach the young folk. It's a subject that I come here before you with some degree of anxiety because it's been a difficult subject, but it's a subject that we must work with and transmute the energies of. The title of my book, it's a synthesis of African cosmology of Kemet, and it's entitled The Golden Sun Egg Uncracked. The Nu'N, or the Nu'N Word Neggur, the goose goddess who laid the sun egg, the cosmic egg. So we're going to talk about this today because this is the domain in which this subject should be brought up when we talk about good speech and the power, the power of the chemetician and the metaphysician to really transmute the energies, to bring the youth into the Nu'N, or the Nu'N Word.